This episode of the Nerdball Podcast is sponsored by Jake Paluski at Real JP Multimedia. He does the music for this podcast. He has produced this podcast. If you need anything audio-visual done, he is the man to see at realjp.com, REELJP.com. Let's start the show.
Hey, my name is Rick Curti. I'm the founder and CEO of the Charlotte Bats, and this is the Nerdball Podcast.
This is the Nerdball Podcast with Lorenzo Melcher.
All right, Rick, thanks for coming on. Like you said, you're the CEO of the Charlotte Bats, and we'll definitely get into that the expansion of Major League Baseball, and hopefully, your hopes and Charlotte's hopes of bringing baseball to Charlotte. But my podcast is called the Nerdball Podcast. I'm interested in what people are nerding out about. If it's a hobby, if it's movies, books, video games, are you getting into cooking, something you've been getting into? I don't like it to be someone's job, because that's, people, you work 40, 50 hours a week. What's something to help you cope with your work hours?
Well, when I'm not doing MLB or Charlotte or the Charlotte Bats, my kind of thing to escape, I love horror movies.
Oh, nice.
I love like 80s cheesy, horrible, bad horror movies. I enjoy them. I think they're great. They're funny. Most people I try to watch it with just don't get it. Like, this is awful. And I'm like, well, this is not exactly Gone with the Wind we're watching. Okay. So
Sure.
Yeah. So if you expect to watch like the Shawshank Redemption, you're going to be sorely mistaken. So, but I love horror movies.
Well, yeah. And why you're watching it, because it's something you love. So it is hard to sometimes explain to people, like, yeah, this isn't a good movie, but that's partly why I'm watching it,
Exactly. I love horrible movies. They're funny. They're crazy. Like, we all know Jason's not real. My goodness. Someone gets an axe in their head, they're going to die, and this guy just pulls it out and like, yeah, I'm fine. Got a little scar in his head. And it's not real. It's just fun to watch.
What is that something you've always been into? Is like, did you watch those as a kid growing up?
Oh yeah, I grew up watching Twilight Zone. I think when most kids were watching like Sesame Street and and the Muppets, I was watching Twilight Zone. I loved the original Twilight Zone with Rod Serling. When I was younger, they used to have a 12-hour marathon on every 4th of July, and I'd watch it 12 hours straight. And I just sit in the living room and wouldn't move for 12 hours watching it. And my dad would actually like tell me, "Here, I'll give you $5 to go to the park. Go take a walk, do something, please." Yeah. And my mom would always say, well, he could be out there doing things that could get him in trouble. And if he wants to sit around and watch Twilight Zone all day, I really don't care.
I feel like your mom would rather have you home and just I can keep an eye on him from the kitchen when he's here.
Exactly. So that was always her thing, was like, well, he could be out there doing this and doing that. And yet, if he wants to watch Twilight Zone all day for 12 hours, hey, he ain't bothering nobody. He ain't bothering me. So just leave him alone.
What's your favorite episode of Twilight Zone?
God, there's so many. There was one episode where these astronauts were going to space and they lost them. They lost radar. They crashed, and they couldn't. And one of them was freaking out. Like, where are we? We eventually starts killing everybody because he starts freaking out.
Oh, wow.
So one of them, before he dies, said there's something up in that hill. So he climbs the hill and you see the astronauts reacting. He's yelling and screaming, and you see telephone poles, and the sign says, "Welcome to Nevada."
No. Oh, man.
And that's how it ends. And all of a sudden you hear Rod Serling's voice, and I went, oh my God, they never left the earth. They landed in Nevada the whole time.
Oh my God.
That's why I love those, because they mess with your mind. And some of them weren't scary, but they were just like, my God, he did all that and freaked out, and yet he was in Las Vegas the whole time.
Did you watch the new ones that came out?
Yeah, they were good. They came out. There were some other ones that came out like in the 80s. I think the Grateful Dead did their the intro. I remember it says this theme song by Grateful Dead.
Okay.
And they got someone to do Rod Serling's voice. Then there was another one I really wasn't into. I think Forrest Whitaker was in it.
Hmm.
There's nothing like Rod Serling. I mean, he's the genius. I mean, he created, produced it, wrote it.
Hmm.
He was the voice, and it's just so hard to replace him.
Yeah, yeah. It's once you're stuck on whatever this is, whatever this original one is, it's sometimes it's cool to like, oh yeah, it's cool to like see these adaptations or whatever, the remakes, but your heart is where your heart is. You can't help it. I love the Jurassic Park movies, and my favorite one is the first one. And
Oh yeah, those are the best ones. The other
yeah.
ones are. I think I saw the latest one. I think it was with Chris Pratt.
Hmm.
I saw that one. That was pretty good. But
Hmm.
yeah, the original was. I love the original.
Yeah, yeah. Well, thanks for humoring me on my Nerdball podcast. But
No,
it's
I'm a
so
big nerd. I'm a big nerd myself. So.
well. Now we can nerd out on some baseball. So like you said at the beginning, you're the CEO of this grassroots organization according to your website. Um, who made you CEO? Did you just say this? I'm going to take this on. I'm going to do this, and this is going to be my project.
Yeah, pretty much. I moved here about 13 years ago. I'm originally from Los Angeles. So I was very spoiled. I had two of everything, two baseball teams, two football teams. Well, at the time we
Yeah.
had football. And I moved here. I lived in Las Vegas. We had no teams.
Hmm.
So I moved here in 2006. And I always wondered, why doesn't North Carolina ever have Major League Baseball? I always wondered that. Like,
Hmm.
I don't get it. All they have is Georgia, and there's really no other team in the South. And so I came up with this idea about starting a movement to bring MLB in Charlotte. I wasn't the first to do it, but we're going to be the first to be successful and be different. So
Yeah.
I said, I'll just make myself the founder, because I pretty much did find out. I'll make the CEO. I'll be the marketer. I'll be whatever I need to be. And so we came up with, let's bring MLB to Charlotte, and put it on Facebook. And then eventually we came up with an idea, and the Charlotte Bass was born.
And so you obviously have to do everything right now. How long has this organization been around? Is it since the commissioner said, hey, here's the 6 cities we're thinking about, or was it even before that?
Oh no, it was before that. We started this like in 2007,
Oh wow.
and it was funny. A couple of people on Facebook, I really didn't know them that well, sent me a message and said, "Congratulations!" And I went, "Okay, what? I didn't do anything." And so I got all these people sending me all these messages on Messenger, and says, "Charlotte on list for by commissioner for expansion." And I went, huh? No way. And I opened up the story and I read it, and it said that Commissioner Manfred came out with a list of cities, and Charlotte is one of the cities they're looking at for expansion. So I said, fantastic. And so I just found out kind of by accident.
Are there other currently are there other Charlotte organizations trying to get baseball there too?
No,
Separate from yours?
no, there was another person that was trying to bring it. And he didn't really was as successful, because we had a minor league baseball team in South Carolina,
Uh-huh.
and they were trying to come to Charlotte, and he was an attorney. So for some reason, he thought it'd be a great idea to block the minor league team from coming to Charlotte, because he said it would hurt our chances to get MLB,
Oh really?
which I couldn't figure out, why would he do that? It would
Yeah.
actually help our chances.
Yeah.
And so for 7 years, this dragged on. And then our team from, even though they're called Charlotte, they were in South Carolina. They eventually moved here, and their attendance was dead last in minor league baseball with 3,000, and it went from 3,000 to 9,000
Wow.
in 1 year. And they set like all these records for most attendance, most sellouts, and so I think that's the reason why the commissioner put us on this list, because if it wasn't for our minor league baseball team,
Mhm.
I really would doubt that we would be on this list.
Was it what level was it at minor league?
It's AAA.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, we're affiliated with the White Sox.
Okay. All right. That yeah, okay, that reminds me now. But I understand like how important even minor league baseball, because I live in close to Toledo, so we'll go to Mud Hens games, and those are
Yeah, yeah.
always packed because we don't have, it's Detroit or Cleveland or Cincinnati, we have teams real close to us where we can go watch professional baseball. But to have something right here, like people love it and they love every part of it. In the winter, the Toledo Walleye hockey team plays a couple games outside there at the Mud Hen Stadium. So people are all about it, and I can imagine bringing in a major league team, because just see how fans reacted to that minor league team coming, setting all those records, and just being all excited about it. I can imagine
Yeah,
them a major league baseball team coming.
it's a great stadium. It's fun to do. It's called Truist Field, um, and it's a lot of fun. The name of the team is called the Charlotte Knights, and they're very, very successful. They do very well, and it's like 2 blocks from where the Panthers play at Bank of America Stadium. So you literally can walk from the baseball stadium to the football stadium to see a football game, see the Panthers. So I think that's what makes it really neat, is that it's so close by. We have everything we call it uptown. We don't call it downtown where I live. It's uptown Charlotte. So we have everything uptown. We got the Knights, we got the Panthers, we got parks, we got restaurants. Bank of America is headquartered in Charlotte. So it's a banking city. So, and it's growing. And then we got a professional hockey team in Raleigh, in our capital. So we have, in a short amount of time, North Carolina has really grown into a destination for professional sports. And we just got soccer. MLS expanded to Charlotte. They actually had their first game Saturday. They're called Charlotte FC.
Okay.
And so we have a brand new Major League Soccer team here in Charlotte as well. So in a short amount of time I've been here, it's really transformed.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. Going from hey, there's no sports here to now there's now there's a minor league baseball team, the soccer team, the Panthers are right there. That seems like a really great place to be living now, especially if you love sports.
Yeah, and it's all because of me, of course. I'm
Yeah.
kidding. I wish I could take credit, but no, it's just because this city's growing so much. We have a lot of transplants. Nobody's from Charlotte. We're all from, I'm from California. We have people from New York. We have people from Maryland. We have people from New Jersey, Chicago, Pittsburgh. But I mean, it's just a melting pot here in Charlotte. So people love their sports. A lot of them come from big cities, and they go to the minor league games. But when I go, I always hear them say, "It would be great if we could get Major League Baseball one day," and one day it will happen.
What got you to Charlotte in the first place?
I kind of just needed a change. I actually lived in Las Vegas for 5 years. And so I got kind of tired of living in the West Coast, because I grew up in the West Coast all my life. And I thought about, always wanted to live in the South, and I wanted to go to a city that was growing a lot. And I had 3 places in mind. It was going to be Atlanta, Nashville, and Charlotte. And I knew really nothing about Charlotte at all, to be quite honest. And so people just kept telling me, you should go to Charlotte. It's growing like crazy. It's affordable. You would have fun there. And I literally came here knowing nothing about Charlotte, and I fell in love with the city. And I've been here for 13 years. And shortly after that's when I came up with, we got everything here in North Carolina: beaches, mountains, and we got a basketball team in the Hornets. We got a football team. Man, we need a Major League Baseball team here, because it would be perfect. All we have is Atlanta. It's 4.5 hours away. The Nationals are in DC, which is 10 hours away. There's no professional sports in South Carolina. There's no professional baseball in Tennessee. There's no professional baseball in Virginia. And so this would be a perfect place for it. And so for about 2 years, I actually studied it to see if we could support MLB. I saw I did a nerd thing.
Yeah.
And check the population, the growth, the affordability, how many people are moving to Charlotte, and just realized, man, this would be a hot spot for MLB. And I'm glad the commissioner put us on a list.
Has there been any reach out at all from anybody in Major League Baseball, just any feelers or anything, or have you tried to reach out to people saying, hey, this is our organization and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn a lot. We do a lot of advertising there, and I know some people there in Major League Baseball I've reached out to and tell them what we're doing. I always tell them thanks to the commissioner for putting us on this list. I actually got the commissioner's address, sent him a shirt, a hat,
Oh,
a nice little
nice.
welcome letter, and just said, thank you for picking Charlotte. I've been doing this for about 4 years at this time.
Yeah.
This is our organization. We can support it. And, thank you for thinking about us. And so, I hope maybe he's wearing it right now with his lockout. We'll see. But
Yeah, no kidding.
yeah, because people always tell me, "What do you think about the lockout?" I'm like, "What do you think? I think I hate it, but
Yeah.
that's life. We
Yeah.
got to move on with it. But it doesn't stop us from what we're doing. We're going to continue doing what we're doing, and so a lot of people are interested in the media in Charlotte. I've spoken to a lot of them that are very, very interested, that love to see an MLB team in Charlotte. They're transplants as well. And so we're just waiting to see
Yeah.
what happens when they expand.
You keep saying we. Is there a team or is this the Charlotte we?
Oh, this is a Charlotte. This is the people we.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm just a messenger. When I always say we, I always talk about. I'm always referring to the people.
That's great. Yeah.
So I kind of like us to be kind of like Green Bay. Where there's no ownership, the
Mm-hmm.
people own it. So I think that'd be kind of cool if we can get the people to own it. And the I think that's why the Packers are so wildly successful, because Green Bay is not really a big metropolis city growing,
Yeah.
and they have probably the greatest fan base. So when I always say we, I always mention the people, because I'm just pretty much the messenger, because a lot of people want to see this happen.
So how much? So it's you. I was looking on your website too. It's you. How much time do you put into the website, the marketing, the talking to people like me, like how much time do you put into this? Let's say in any given week.
I mean, it just depends. I reach out to people, and if they want to do an interview with me, great. I'm down for it. I always post every single morning, so it's an everyday thing.
Mm-hmm.
It just depends how long. It could take 6 hours a day. It could take 2 hours a day. It could take three. It could take four.
Yeah.
It just all depends. I mean, sometimes I'll just hear from a television company or a reporter, and they'll say, "Hey, we want to do an interview with you. Can you meet us uptown somewhere? And we want to talk to you, and bring your jerseys and bring your shirts with you." And I'm like, I'm down for that. So it just pretty much, it all depends.
And what do you do? What's your regular job? Your everyday job?
Oh, I'm in marketing.
Okay. Well,
So
this is perfect then.
that's what makes it even great, because and I'm also I'm an artist as well. I'm a self-taught artist,
Oh,
and
nice.
so I love combining my passion for marketing, for art, and I've always been a big sports nut.
Yeah.
Never was a great athlete at all. I was a terrible athlete, but I always had the love for sports. I just love watching games, not just baseball, but I like watching football. Just a lot of sports I love to watch has been part of my life. So I like to combine my three passions and just kind of like go with it. And I think moving to Charlotte was probably it's been life changing for me.
What kind of art do you do?
Oh, I've done drawings, I've done watercolors, I've done paints, pretty much,
Just a bunch of mixed media.
anything. Yeah, I'm not really the abstract kind of guy. But of course, when I was in high school, I did a lot of baseball stuff. Of course,
Yeah.
I always brought my magazines and drew a picture of Barry Bonds, or oh, here's a picture of Kirby Puckett. Let me add him. And people were like, "You really like baseball?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's my passion."
Yeah.
Never in a million years did I ever think I'd move out of Los Angeles. I never thought I'd be in North Carolina. I never thought anyone would be interested in hearing my story about what I'm doing, and
Mm-hmm.
it's been great.
What is your favorite professional baseball team besides the
Uh,
Bats?
well, I grew up in Los Angeles, so I'm a Dodger fan.
Okay. All right.
Everyone is a Braves fan out here because it's the
Yeah.
closest team we have, and everybody was hooping and hollering that they won the World Series, and I'm like, well, that's great, but that's Georgia's team. I mean, why would I care what Georgia does?
Yeah.
I don't care. All I care is about what North Carolina does. So yeah, it's kind of great. I guess it's the closest we have, but I mean, I'm ready for a team in North Carolina, but I'm a Dodger fan, and I'm happy they won the World Series. And last season was was especially with those Astros, those
Yeah.
pesky Astros. And yeah, I'm not an Astros fan at all.
No, my uncle's a big Astros fan, and so I remember this is when they won the World Series, and I got him. It was cool because I'm an Indians fan, and so I've never seen him win a
You
World
can't call them
Series.
that anymore. They're the
Oh
Guardians.
yeah, sorry, the Guardians. Yeah, it
Yeah.
doesn't the name change doesn't bother me. I just always forget because I'm so used to it.
Well, I hate
Um,
the name. I think it's they used to be called the Cleveland Spiders.
yeah,
And
like
so I
old
was,
like the old team. Yeah,
yeah, so I was hoping that, well, they should go back to be called the Cleveland Spiders. I mean,
yeah.
there's your name right there. I mean, there's nothing controversial about it. And when they went with the Guardians, I was like, really? So I think of Guardians of Galaxy right away.
Yeah, I don't mind. I don't mind the name. I wish the logo would have been because the Guardians are based off the statues on one of their freeways. They're the Guardians of traffic, or there's a more elegant term than that, but it's these statues, and they have a real cool look to them. But I wish the face of those statues would have been the logo. I think that would have been a much better logo than that stupid winged baseball.
Yeah, yeah. When I heard the name, I was like, that's the best they can do is
I know,
Guardians. And
I know.
I was like, go back with the Spiders. I would have loved to see the Cleveland Spiders. It's different, it's original. I've
Yeah.
never heard of a team called Spiders before.
Mhm.
And it would have been neat to have that name. And it would have been
Yeah.
kind of cool. The logos were cool. And when I heard Guardians, I was like, well, okay.
Yeah, there's not a lot of people that like it.
Yeah, just like the Redskins, the Commanders, really?
Yeah, yeah.
Like that's the best you can do.
And
The
they
Commanders.
were coming up with a name for it seemed like for 4 years or something too.
I know they were called the Washington Football Team for 2 years, and people were like, "I actually like that name." I'm like, "You like it called Washington Football Team?" I mean, it's so like it's like I'm going to go get a drink of water,
It's
or I'm
generic,
going to go to
yes.
I'm
Yeah.
going to the bathroom, or I'm going to go take a nap. It's there's nothing exciting about it. And
Yeah.
and they had a contest, and I would always enter these contests. Like I put Cleveland Spiders,
Hmm.
Washington. I said they should call them the Washington Hogs because their fans are dressed like pigs,
Yeah.
and that's their fan base. And I just thought that'd be the perfect name and reach out to the fans. And I think they would like that. When I heard Commanders, I'm like, okay. I just think of like spaceships and Star Trek and like futuristic stuff. So I
Hmm.
don't know. That's just me.
That's all right. But it is it is cool. Like you said that the Dodgers in the World Series, and I've seen in the Guardians in the World Series, and it's just so exciting, because that was my team, and I think for you, for even let's say when this finally happens for you and your first game as the Charlotte Bats in Major League Baseball, I feel like that'll feel like the World Series to you because it's just like we did it,
Oh yeah.
you know.
It's going to be like huge news in Charlotte. It'll be on the front page of our newspaper. It'll be like I tell people like that's going to be like the biggest story to hit here because we've never had it.
Yeah.
And we've been so close and we've been used as pawns for so many years. I remember when the Twins were rumored to move in the mid 90s because they wanted a new stadium.
Yeah.
And they were rumored to come to Charlotte and it was all set and it fell through.
Oh,
And
really?
then the guy never wanted to move. He just wanted a new stadium.
Yeah.
And then the with Jeffrey Loria and the Marlins, he wanted a new stadium. And so he was like, well, if we don't get a new stadium, I'll just move to Charlotte. And people are like, really? They could come here? And I'm like, no, he just wants a new stadium. And of course they built a new stadium. Now we're staying. So
Yeah.
I think that's what people have been frustrated about, that we've been used as pawns a lot. Just like Las Vegas was used as a pawn for many years, or Portland,
Hmm.
or the other cities on our list. And so that's what makes it so different, is that we're not a pawn. The commissioner came out with this list, and Charlotte's on that list with Nashville and Montreal and Portland and Vancouver. And so we're excited. There's other great cities on that list as well, that are great as well. But I'm a little biased. I think Charlotte's the best.
What would you feel, let's say a team did move there, how would that make you feel?
I mean, that'd be great.
Mhm.
It always hurts when a city and a state loses it. I mean, we lost the Hornets
Mhm.
when they moved to New Orleans, and then we got the Bobcats, and eventually they became the Hornets again. So a lot of people I talk to are always like, I hate to see a city lose a team and for us to come here.
Mhm.
So the majority of it want to see a brand new expansion team. But things happen in life. Teams move, new ownerships happen. I always thought the Rays, would be the best fit to come to Charlotte since they're always looking for new stadium. Their
Yeah.
attendance is lousy where they play, and they're such a great team. The colors are pretty much identical to ours because the colors I chose are the colors of the city of the city.
Okay.
And so I thought, can you imagine if the Rays came to Charlotte? They would just be in the American League East. They wouldn't even have to do realignment,
Mhm.
and just you can call them the Charlotte Rays, the Carolina Rays, the Charlotte Bats, whatever you want to call them. That would be the most logical team to relocate to Charlotte.
Well, that and like you said, they're so good, and people just don't care.
It's sad because they don't even play in Tampa Bay; they play in St. Petersburg,
Yeah.
and that's like about it's kind of like when we had our minor league baseball team. It was so far away, nobody went. And the same thing over there. It's like 25, 30 minutes away. And you have to cross a bridge there.
Mm.
The stadium is really bad. It's probably the worst in Major League Baseball. And they win. I mean, they won 100 games last year. They
Yeah.
were in the World Series a couple of years ago. They almost won it. And I'm like, they're like one of the most, they're one of the best teams in all of baseball. Their front office is fantastic. Their
Mhm.
their manager is fantastic. Their scouting, their minor league system. I mean, they really do nothing. They do so much with nothing
Yeah.
because they don't really have. They're a small market, and
Mhm.
for them to be that successful and to play in front of like 8,000 people a night,
Yeah.
and they always show like other like. I remember one time they said, "Hey, did you know that this minor league baseball team had a bigger attendance than the Tampa Bay Rays did?" And I think the Knights were one of them because that
Yeah.
stadium seats about 11,000 where we go, and I think one time they had 8,000 at a Tampa Bay
Mm.
game, and I'd always put it side by side and say, look, Major League Baseball in Tampa Bay, minor league baseball in Charlotte, and you don't think we could support it? So
Mhm.
it always breaks my heart when their attendance is so bad, but they should have built the stadium in Tampa Bay.
Yeah. Are there detractors to your Charlotte Bats movement? Are there people that saying, "Why are you doing this?" It's never going to happen. I'm sure there are, but
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, when I started it, people were like, "No, we got enough. We're a college state. We love our Tar Heels and Duke
yeah.
and our NASCAR and all that stuff." But now that years have gone on and younger people are moving here, they're all from they didn't grow up in North Carolina, and they grew up in cities like Pittsburgh that they're so used to having a pro team. You don't hear about it as much. I
Mhm.
rarely hear anybody telling me to stop doing this. They usually are saying, "We'd love to see this. I think it'd be great." And I said, "You don't have to be a big sports fan. It would be great for our economy. It'd bring
Mhm.
jobs. It'll provide fun everywhere." And I said, "Unfortunately, we can't agree on anything anymore. Everybody's so want to argue all the time." And I think to me, sports always brings people and communities together, and it's a lot of fun. And I've seen other cities, other smaller cities that brought up a professional baseball team, and to see the excitement in them, the the opportunities. They're like, "Hey, I'm gonna go apply for a job there." People are excited about it, and so I feel that's what will happen. And we can totally support a Major League Baseball team. We support all our other teams. We support a
Mhm.
minor league baseball team. It's just a matter of time till we get an MLB team in Charlotte.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, just based on your excitement and what people are talking about and all the other things that are thriving there, I have no doubt that it'll be successful. When I was looking at your website, I saw the shop tab, and I was like, I was like, I wonder what's in here, and I click on it, and there was I don't know if I don't mean to be insulting, but there was a surprising amount of stuff in there.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't launched it yet. We're going to launch it very, very soon. But we have jerseys, we got hats, we got T-shirts, we got a whole bunch of cool stuff, and so we hopefully we could expand more. I got some cool like USA style patriotic jerseys I just got, or a military jersey. Just a lot of fun stuff, and hopefully we can expand with more. So that was always the important thing, is I want to come up with a team, come up with names and a logo, and if we could come out with some cool looking jerseys, I think people would really embrace it. And ever since I show people the jerseys, they're like, "You really put a lot of thought into this, haven't you?" I'm like, "Well, it's become kind of like an obsession with me, because I'm a huge sports fan, and
Mm-hmm.
growing up, watching sports all your life, you just see something that you're passionate about. And I, more and more I come here, and it's just like, why hasn't North Carolina ever been mentioned for expansion?
Mm-hmm. So you said you're going to launch that stuff. Do you have inventory now, or is it just like, here's a couple of things I'm working on?
No, I got some T-shirts, I got some hats,
Okay.
some jerseys. I got to get some more in stock, so I'm trying to get our store ready when
Okay.
people want to get some. And so, but yeah, I have like a closet full of stuff in bins and in boxes, and I got some hats and all this stuff that I've had for quite a while. Unfortunately, COVID kind of put a damper on things, but now it looks
Mhm.
like we're getting back to normal. I know they just looked at our mask mandates here in North Carolina,
Oh, wow.
and
Okay.
and then some other states have done it as well. So I think it looks like we're gonna get. It looks like our we'll be getting back to normal and everywhere else. So people are excited, and I think we all want to get back to our normal lives.
I don't know if you said, I don't think I asked you, but how'd you come up with bats as the mascot for Charlotte?
Well, when the original name I wanted was the Cardinals.
Okay.
The Cardinals is a state bird in North Carolina. Would have
So
been
it's a
perfect.
state bird for Ohio too. Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
And so I just thought, well, that'd be a cool name. Unfortunately, St. Louis Cardinals, Arizona Cardinals, Louisville Cardinals,
Yeah.
Stanford Cardinals, and I'm sure there's other Cardinal teams out there. So I said, too bad we can't use that.
Yeah.
And so so I came up with this wacky name at first called the Charlotte Bat Dogs, and they just put it as a joke. And I said, "Here, Charlotte Bat Dogs, MLB Charlotte." And people hated it. Oh, it's stupid. We hate that name. You're an idiot. And then eventually, someone just said, "Just call them the Charlotte Bats."
Yeah.
And so when I was doing research about it, I said, "Well, we used to have a minor league baseball team in Greensboro, North Carolina, called the Greensboro Bats, and they changed their name to the Grasshoppers." And so I say, well, the Bats name's available.
Yeah.
It's connected to North Carolina. And we do have a lot of bats here in the South. And so I always wanted the name to represent North Carolina.
Sure.
So Charlotte Bats came, and that's how we were born.
There, when I first, when you first contacted me, I looked at Charlotte Bats. I go, oh, my sister lives in Louisville, and there's a minor league
Yeah,
baseball team there.
the
But they're,
Louisville Bats.
yeah, but I mean, that makes sense for them because of the actual bat people use.
Yeah, that's where they make them. It's
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
play on words. I like it.
Oh, yeah.
And so when I saw that, I was like, well, we're different because we're actually named after the animal,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
it's kind of a play on words with baseball bats as well. And theirs is
Hmm.
clever too because of the Louisville Slugger bats that they manufacture in Louisville, Kentucky. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I think they're a great team, and like when I came up with the name, I didn't even know there was a Louisville Bats team.
The did you come up because you're obviously designed a logo and all that stuff. Did you have different renditions of what you wanted, and ultimately did you have people help you pick one, or you're just like, nope, this is the one, I like this one?
No, I had a couple of logos, and then a friend of mine is a graphic designer.
Okay.
I reached out to him one day and said, "Hey, I kind of want to get a more punchier, more sharper logo. Tell me, and why don't you create one for me?" And he sent it to me, and I put it on our Facebook page, and people said, "Oh, I love the new logo." I really wasn't looking into putting a new logo, and people liked it so much. I said, "Hey, you know what? This will be our new logo." And so people like the other one I look at now. It's like, it's kind of cartoonish,
Okay.
kind of funny, but this one is more sharper, um, more edgier, and people seem to have liked it a lot.
That's it. Always makes it's got to make you feel good too when you're designing this or doing this stuff, and then you put it out there, and people are like, "Yes, that's awesome," or "I like that one," because it's a lot of
Yeah,
work. It's especially when you're doing this by yourself. It's a lot of work, and to get some validation from especially the community of Charlotte saying, "Yeah, this is cool."
yeah. I mean, I think I was always nervous about the logo, the colors, the hats, and the jerseys mostly. And when people really, really embrace the jersey, where can I get one?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, hey, I want one. Like, where can I order it from? And I'm like, you really like it? You would like if you saw this at a store, and you walked into a sports store and you saw Dodgers and Astros and Twins and all these cool baseball jerseys, and this jersey happened to be right there next to it, you would see that, you would think that would be and they go, yeah, it looks legit. It looks like that would be a legit professional MLB team. And yeah, I get it because I just like how it looks.
Did you have when you first started this campaign to bring Charlotte MLB to Charlotte? Did you even think like, oh, I'm gonna have apparel to sell? Because like for me, like I wouldn't have thought that unless it became a team. You know?
No, I mean, it just kind of grew. I just kind of thought it'd be kind of cool. We had some jerseys and hats, and I had people reach out to me, and sometimes they'd mail me like a check or something. Like, hey, I want a shirt. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay. Or I meet people at work or some and say, here, here's like $20, and I first had a T-shirt that said, "Let's bring MLB to Charlotte," and I just wear it around everywhere, and people would be like, "Oh yeah, I support you. I love what you're doing." Okay, and I look, oh yeah, my shirt, because it's I'm pretty much a walking billboard, so I'll
Sure.
wear it all around. People love it, they love to see it, and so when I saw people's enthusiasm for it, I said, let's just open up a pro shop, see how it goes, and who knows, maybe people will be interested, and we'll get MLB's attention as well.
Well, I'll make sure to put your website link in the show notes so people can click on it, check it out, read up what you got going on, and maybe buy something from the shop. Because I was looking at it too. I don't wear. I used to wear a lot of hats. I think that was because when I was going bald. Now I just shave my head, so I don't wear a lot of hats anymore. But I do. One of my favorite things was finding, especially AAA teams, just like weird different hats. But this would be even be beyond that because this isn't a team that exists yet. So this is like a
No,
new thing.
you
So I
would
think it's pretty
be.
cool.
It's like it's in the future. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you could get it, and one day when I'm long gone and dead, maybe if you watch the show Pawn Stars,
Yeah.
you can go to Pawn Stars and say, "Hey, I have the original Charlotte Bats fitted baseball," and this was before they got an MLB team. And I always picture Rick saying, "Oh my God, this is like a gold mine, and this could be some phenomenal." And then I look back and say, "Yeah, just kind of get over yourself, relax." But I always tell people we're gonna get an MLB in Charlotte, whether they're called the Bats or whatever. But you can have a piece of history right here.
Yeah. Before I go or before we go, one more thing. If you let's say we're gonna send this clip to the commissioner, what would you say to him right now? Pretend you're talking to the commissioner right now.
Well, I'd say Commissioner Manfred, thank you so much for putting us on this list. We're very, very excited. Here's what we've been doing for the past, 7, 8 years about bringing MLB to Charlotte. This is why we can support it. This is where we can have a stadium. The people would totally come around it. We can have a great rivalry with Atlanta and make lots and lots of money, not only for North Carolina, but for MLB as well. And we feel that the Charlotte Bats name and logo and apparel would be one of the most popular items in MLB because we're fun. It's a great logo. People seem to like it. And so thank you again for putting us on this list. We appreciate it. And Charlotte will be when Oklahoma got the Hornets when Hurricane Katrina came, and that whole city embraced the Hornets and loved it. And all of a sudden the Thunder were born. And a lot of people are like, Oklahoma? Wow, they
Yeah.
really like the NBA. People are going to be surprised when Charlotte, when they see packed stadiums for Major League Baseball, and people realize, wow, I thought North Carolina was like a small market. I thought Charlotte was all about like NASCAR and college, and they really, really love MLB. So I always compare us to like an Oklahoma, that a lot of people would be very, very surprised to see how enthusiastic we are about professional sports.
Yeah. Well, Rick, first of all, thanks for reaching out. It means a lot to me because I'm like you're passionate about the bats. I am passionate about this podcast I've been doing for a few years. So it means a lot that you want to reach out. Come on here. Best of luck to you. When it happens, man, I will be there. As long as I'm alive, I will be there. I would love to come watch a game. I've never been to Charlotte, so I think it'll be a cool experience. And I think I'm gonna go on that website and get me a hat because I think I like what you're doing. I love baseball, so I like what you're doing. I can hear your passion, and I want to support you not just by coming on this podcast, but by helping you out there too. So when whoever's listening to this, make sure you check the show notes, check the website, and put out all your social medias too for people to find you on social media.
All right. Well, thank you so much for having me on your program.
Yeah, man. Best of luck to you.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, everybody, for checking out this episode of the Nerd Ball Podcast. Please rate, review, and subscribe wherever you're hearing this on any of the podcatchers. On YouTube, hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. We're coming at you 2 times a week now, audio and video. Check us out on all the social medias. Just search the Nerd Ball Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. We're out there. Gmail is the nerdballpodcast@gmail.com. If you want to shoot us an email, we'd be happy to get back to you. Thanks to Real JP Multimedia, Cuttlefish Graphics, Perrysburg Junior High STEM Lab, and Big Daddy Graphics for helping out the podcast. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.